Well, good morning, friends. You're tuned to Car Connection and our Car Connection workshop, where the coffee's strong, the stories are real, and the wrenches never stop turning. I'm your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, coming to you from the Car Connection workshop, personally, where the smell of fresh oil and a little elbow grease is all part of a balanced breakfast. Around here, we don't just talk cars, we live them. Whether it's a 25-year-old Jeep Wrangler getting a second chance at life or a Nissan Rogue getting its brakes back in order, or perhaps a mystery leak that's got every one of us scratching our heads. This is where we roll up our sleeves and get it done with a little wit, a little wisdom, and a whole lot of fun. Car Connection Workshop isn't just about nuts, bolts, and diagnostics. It's about connection. Connection to our vehicles, to the people who drive them, to the community that keeps Niagara rolling. Because when you fix a car, you're not just turning a wrench, you're restoring someone's confidence, freedom, and maybe even their sanity. We're here every week and also Saturday mornings, helping you keep your ride safe, reliable, and ready for whatever road lies ahead. So whether you're a weekend wrencher, a daily commuter, or someone who just wants to understand what that strange rattle really means, welcome aboard. Stick around for shop talk, expert advice, a few good laughs, and maybe a story or two, and we'll prevent you from not spending too much money on your car. So we're here to help you save money and keep your car rolling. You know, one of these days, after 31 years on radio, been licensed as a service technician in light truck and passenger vehicles and heavy trucks and equipment and coaches and diesels since 1988 was when I wrote my licenses, and they are up to date, and I am current. So I'm always open to asking questions or making a comment on one of our YouTube videos. We have we're heading for 200 YouTube videos at Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and we always have all our contacting information in the description box of our YouTube videos and also the podcasts here on iHeart, Spotify, Amazon Music, and also Apple and all the other major platforms, or whatever platform it is that you're tuning in on. Look for Car Connection Workshop. That's where you'll find us. 31 years on radio with our Car Connection radio broadcasts, and retired out from that and wanting to move into another direction, and that's what we're doing. I want to reach a lot more people and reach out and teach you more about your automobile so that you can save money, less chaos and stress, and enjoy more rolling. Yeah, than unhappiness. Because cars, it's a love-hate relationship. That's what I've discovered in all the years. We had our own automotive repair shop on the Hamilton Mountain for 11 years. And it was ill health that kicked me out of that. You know, I was wrenching for rent, and my body just couldn't take, the 18-hour days. And I blew a couple of discs out, and life changed in a hurry, and I needed to get myself healthy, and being on the shop floor and working hard was not going to get me there. It was going to get me in a wheelchair. So life changed. I'm back in health and have been for a number of years now. We got to look after ourselves, and we got to look after our automobiles, because how many of you out there, if I said, I'm pulling your keys from you, you can't have the car for 90 days. Yeah, silence, right? That would be the laser stare of death. You'd go, what? You're doing what? Yeah, you don't get to have your car for 90 days. You'd freak out. Yeah, there'd be silence, and then there would be an absolute, horrific barn burner. Yeah, a meltdown. Not good. How many could do without our vehicles out there for 60 days or 30 days? And I recently talking to someone whose vehicle was down for 3 weeks and still not fixed. And let me tell you, They were wound up tighter than a coil spring. Buddy's lucky that he's still alive, I think. Yeah. Yeah, not many of us can do without our ride. It's a tool to get everything done, and we've got some of the toughest months of the year coming up against our automobiles. So we got to be ready because we never know just how rough the months ahead are going to be. We know we're into the cold, crispy, and maybe up to our foreheads in winter event material. So we need to be ready, and it's better to be prepared than not prepared. So you can find me on our website and all our links to everything that we're connected with. We have blooper videos and outtakes at stevensvilleontheweb.ca. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iHeart, and our merch store, all located in one place for you so you can connect with me, and that's at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. And I always put that information in the description of anything I'm recording, be it a YouTube video or be it here on podcasting, which is new to us. We're not new to broadcasting, we're new to podcasting, and I'm starting to get in the groove in the studio instead of having to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and do a Saturday morning and afternoon live broadcast. This is kind of nice, and I'm kind of settling in now. So if you see some mistakes in my podcast or some boogity things, it's okay. If you hear a little silent spot like this, it's all right. I didn't black out, bang my head, and I'm laying underneath the talk table, passed out, and nobody comes to check on you. The cheese stands alone. You ever notice that? The cheese stands alone. So always connect with me through carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. We have amazing program partners that have been with us for decades, from finances to construction and landscaping materials to automotive, also to outreach programs in the Niagara region where you can get involved, send some gift cards, donate $5 a month, but be part of that community that reaches out to men, women, and children, single moms. The kids have school programs for them, and they get fed. There's so much going on at Crystal Ridge Dream Center. Check them out on our website. All the logos for all the companies that I put my seal of approval on are there for you to connect with. You'll be treated very, very well, and you can trust those that are on there. Rainbow Motors, Rita and Ramiz, Shanuda, the brothers up in Scarborough. They have a small car lot, so it's sales and service to all makes and models. And this just in. My muffins are done. Well, that's good to know. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really do. That's good. Take them out before they burn. Much appreciated. So always read the descriptions. That's where you'll find links. And if I'm using certain products or I have something that would be of help to you, you'll find it in the description of our YouTube videos and also in the description of our podcasts. And you can email me through our website, carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. There's a website form there. If there's a specific topic you would like for me to cover, let me know. If you have a question, let me know. Leave a comment in our YouTube videos. And every single YouTube video will teach you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what age you are, what size you are, or nationality, you're going to learn 5 things from every video. We're not building monster trucks or hot rods or anything. We're doing good old-fashioned automotive service, repairs, and maintenance. And we've been working on a 97 Jeep TJ Wrangler that was given to us back last June of 2024. And we've gone over the whole thing, and we're getting to the tail end of things now. And on that specific vehicle, it has all the components your car has, but not as high tech. So it's a great way for you to see things. We work on different vehicles all the time and different maintenances and repairs that you can learn what it is, where it is, how it breaks, why it matters, And what could you have learned or done to prevent a very expensive part and component from breaking and costing you a lot of money? So I'm here to save you money, not lose money. So whether you know a little bit about cars or not a whole lot, our YouTube videos will teach you those 5 things and also remind you when you're taking your vehicle in for service and repairs, whether you're a guy or a gal, make sure 4 things are covered on the repair order and you make sure that the service advisor covers it to the nut, because this is where problems begin right away and you walk out of the service department going, I think I just got taken. No, I think I got hosed. No, I definitely got screwed for sure. And by the time you get home, you've come up with 150 different ways of saying, I got ripped off. I think. Probably. Most likely. Maybe. Perhaps not. Here you go. 4 things on the work order every single time. The cause. Why you're taking the vehicle in. Make sure all the concerns are noted and written down on the work order so that the communication is there of all the items that you want to have repaired or maintained and know about. Number 2, cause. That's diagnostic time, ladies and gents. You don't want to get a phone call and say, oh, the repair was $200, but the diagnostic is $850. 850 smackers. No. What you want noted on there is give them 1 hour. I'm giving you a huge service technician tidbit here. You tell them on each item that is your concern, if there's diagnostic that needs to take place, you say, I'm giving you permission for 1 hour of diagnostic time, and then I want to be brought up to date. That will prevent you from having a service department meltdown or a Chernobyl meltdown in the service department. I'm authorizing, and make sure they write it down. If it's not written down, it's he said, she said, it doesn't matter, right? Make sure they write it down. 1 hour diag time, and I want to be called and discuss further. So concern for every component everything that's going wrong with it. Individual. So if there's 5 items, 4 items, 3 items, 2 items, or 1 item, should all be on that work order. Number 2, you're authorizing 1 hour of diag time for them to come up with what is the causal component for that specific concern for each one. So if there's a number of items that are going to need to be diagged, you choose 1 hour and then you want a phone call, or 2 hours and you want a phone call covering off what is the cause of all those items of concern. Number 4, correction. What are the parts exactly that are going to be required to put my car back into good standing and good working order? All parts. And have them put that right on the work order. Customer wants a cost analysis for all labor, all parts in detail. And then finally, confirmation. The vehicle needs to be road tested to verify that concern, cause, correction has all been completed. Everything's good by the road test, which is confirmation. So I'm giving you those tips because I'm hearing and seeing all kinds of rip-offs going on, and it is stinking serious, ladies. You are getting taken out there, and it's disgusting. And there's some fellas as well, that don't know a whole lot about cars. So that's what this podcast is all about. I've done 31 years on radio as of November 6, 2025, and now I'm moving on to podcast. Why? Because I can reach more people. I can help more people with the knowledge that I have. I can answer your questions. I can give you guidance. I can teach you stuff that will make you a secret weapon, ladies. When you walk into that service department, that service advisor hasn't got a clue that your holster has 2 guns and lots of bullets. You're armed with information, knowledge, and understanding of your car. So let's I promised in the last podcast, and we ran out of time, and I don't like to make these too long. I'm trying to stay around 30 minutes. But if that's not enough for you and you need more, I'm used to doing a 2-hour live call-in program for 31 years. Then we backed it down to an hour. I can give you more time if you need more time. I just want to be respectful of your time and give you as much as I can, but not like sucking on a fire hose or a fire hydrant. But I just want to give you a trickle and a flow of information to not overwhelm you. Because if you're like me, you know what? I get overwhelmed with new stuff. I have to take a bite out of it a little bit at a time, and I find I can get through it and learn it, just like podcasting. Learning the tools and the equipment that I require to run myself, because I'm a one-man show. I'm the engineer, I'm the host, I'm the writer, I'm the host, I'm the talent, I'm the guy. I'm not the man, I'm just a man. I'm not a big shot, I'm just a little shot that just keeps shooting. That's me. So I promised to stay around 30 minutes, but if you'd like more, send me an email. Put me a comment down in one of our YouTube videos. I answer all the comments, and I look at all the comments because I want to help you. And we're working together in this. You know, I'm going to write a book one day, and here's the title of it. Fix It, but Don't Spend Any Money. Would you buy that book when I write it? Would you? Would you buy that? And how to shop for a pre-owned vehicle. Yeah, we're working on that. I wrote it a number of years ago, but I didn't do anything with it. Now I think it's time to refresh that. And if you're interested, you'll be able to get that from our merch store and have a copy for yourself and or a download. So I did promise 2 more winter tech tips in the last podcast. So it's Wednesday today. So here they are. Motormouth's Winter Tech tip number, where are we at here? 13 and 14 out of 35. Yeah, we've gotten through a few already. So if you're just catching the Car Connection Workshop with host Niall Motormouth Jenkins, you can go back and re-listen. And on our website at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com, Mike, our webmaster, he's amazing. And he has set up archives on our website where you can go and re-listen to the podcasts. And they're up there by topic and date, so you'll easily find what you're looking for. So feel free to listen, re-listen, share. Here we go. Motormouth's Winter Tech tip number 13. Yep. Check your serpentine belt for cracks. The cold makes the rubber very, very brittle, and the belts can snap. So from a statistic from Gates, Canada, which is one of my favorite suppliers of belts and hoses for a long time, decades and decades. Their statistic is 4 years at the very most for all belts and hoses. And sometimes that's really pushing it. In some cases, in many cases, that serpentine belt's done in about 2 years. Because it's one belt drives everything. Air conditioning, water pump, power steering, engine. It's all tied to one belt. And when that thing breaks, it's like 16 feet long. And boy, does it ever tear things apart under the hood. Because it's whipping around in there, and it's 16 feet long. And before that thing kind of clears all the pulleys and spits out underneath the car if it can, I've seen it rip radiators, windshield washer bottles, hoses, wire harnesses. It can cost thousands. And the one particular vehicle that comes to mind, the bill was like $4,000. It did so much destruction and even bulged the hood. So crazy, yes? Yes. So we want to make sure as we head into the colder weather, be certain that your service tech double checks your serpentine drive belt for cracks, because the cold will cause that belt to snap. So I always recommend 2 years, 4 years pushing it, really pushing it. You might get 2.5, 3, but you don't want to be on the outtake of that where the belt breaks and causes thousands of dollars of damage in parts and labor. So that brittle rubber, when it snaps, is going to cost you. And without it, you're going nowhere fast. So when that belt comes off, whether it's July and it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit with high humidity and you're on the side of the road super overheated because the serpentine belt broke, your vehicle will overheat just as fast in the winter at minus temperatures as it would on the side of the road in the middle of July. Just so you know. The engines are running at 195 degrees Fahrenheit, so the coolant is running at 195, and the cooling fans do not come on till 212 Fahrenheit to 225. Water boils in that window, 212 to 225, just so you know. But because it's mixed antifreeze, glycol, and filtered water, we know what the boiling point is. It's still in that window. So if the belt breaks and the coolant is at 212 Fahrenheit, it's going to meet 225 in a hurry, and the electric fans are not going to keep that engine cool. You're going to super overheat and blow out all the antifreeze and perhaps cause some catastrophic engine damage and or transmission as well. Because if it's an automatic transmission, the transmission oil is being cooled by the cooling system. So if the cooling system overheats, your transmission oil overheats, and you're talking buka bucks. So I don't want you to go there. So that's tech tip number 13. Motormouth's winter tech tip number 14. Keep your floor mats dry. Wet mats freeze, they slide, and they can wedge under the gas pedal or under the brake pedal. And I've seen that happen. It creates a crash. Could be through a store, into a parked car. You never know. And that's not how you want to practice ice racing. The other issue is this. Very hard to keep the windshield and the inside of the windows from frosting up if you got a lot of water in your floor mats. Did you know that? And if you're not using like a water catching type floor mat, then your carpet's soaking wet, and it'll be wet until the end of July next year. So that moisture, after you've had the heater on in the car and warming things up, that moisture comes out of the carpet and the under padding, which is about 2 inches thick, and it will hold the moisture against the metal floor of your car, and I've seen it rot the car floors out, the floor pans, in less than 6 months. You got a Fred Flintstone car, I kid you not, because once the water gets the paint and also the primer off the floor under the carpet, guess what happens? Guess what happens? It's bare metal. Now your floor's going to rot out completely. Yep, very, very quickly. It happens very, very quickly. So here's what you need to do. Get yourself some really good floor mats. And you know what I do in the winter is I go to, like the Salvation Army or, the thrift shops, Goodwill. I get some old towels and I double them and put them under my Pants Saver car mats. That's what I call them. Catches all the water so I can keep the carpet dry and salt free. But I also make sure if there's a fair amount of moisture in my mat, I take it out, dry it out, and I'll even take it in the house and dry it out and bring it back out, because that moisture will drive you nuts on the inside of the glass, because you'll have frost on there that will not go away all winter long. You'll be dealing with it all the time. So another winter tech tip. Let's jump into our topic for today, suspension. Not the one you got in school several times, but that's just between you and me. I wouldn't know anything about that too much. Yeah, let's move on. Yep. Next question, suspension. What does that mean? Well, we have shocks and we have McPherson struts. We have coil-over shocks, and then we have just regular attached at both ends shocks, depending on what type of vehicle you're driving. But it doesn't matter. So I don't want to confuse you with that. I just want you to understand how shocks work. So I'm just going to call them shocks. Shock absorber is the high-tech terminology. That what they do is are you ready? Some high-tech stuff here, ladies. Write this down because the fellas probably don't even know this. So it's just between you and me. Crayons and a brown paper bag being your memo pad. Shock absorbers, what do? They absorb spring oscillations. How about that one for terminology? And even though they may be attached at both ends in the front and in the rear of your vehicle, doesn't necessarily mean that they're working. And this time of year, as we head into the winter months ahead, we need to know just how in tune those shock absorbers are. Again, on most vehicles in the front, they're still shocks, but they're called McPherson struts. It's the design. In the rear, they could be coil springs like on my Honda CRV, the Rocket, we call it. I'm going to be changing those in the spring. They're coil over. So there's a shock absorber with a coil spring over top of it. Then if we take a look at my 2007 Toyota FJ Cruiser, I have shocks with coil springs over them on the front, and on the rear, just plain old shock absorbers. They're attached at the top and the bottom, and it's just a shock absorber. That's something I did talk about on one of my YouTube videos back in the very early days when we started working on the 1997 Jeep TJ Wrangler Sport Rescue. I replaced shock absorbers front and rear. So if you go way back in my YouTube videos, you'll actually be able to see the shock absorbers that I put on that 97 Jeep TJ Wrangler Rescue. They're just plain Jane shock absorbers. But the purpose is to create, they're filled with gas and oil, and they have valving inside so that when you hit bumps, whether it be a giant pothole big enough to swallow a Volkswagen Beetle, or you go into a dip, or it's like, is there any road in front of me, or did I leave and I'm in the field somewhere? You know, those types of roads. There's one not too far from the Car Connection studio here, and I know now and have learned, stay in the left lane, don't get in the curb lane. Yeah, especially if you have a beverage. You are probably going to need to have a change of wardrobe. You're going to wear most of it. Shock absorbers are designed to create a down force. And what does that mean? Not only do they absorb spring oscillations so that you have a nice, comfortable ride like you're sitting on a fluffy couch behind the wheel, or a passenger, or a backseat driver. Yeah, we let them out at the next stop usually. Hey, can you just run in and grab me something from the store there? Zzz. Oh, we left you behind. Really? Yeah. Really look concerned about that. The other purpose is to create down force to push the tire against the road surface. So heading into the winter months ahead, if your shock absorbers are not creating that down force because the gas has come out of the cylinders, or oil has leaked out, or they're just not working, the gas has leaked out slowly, and that's what happens. The seals shrink, and the gas charge dissipates out of the shock, so now it's not really working. It's there, but it's not working. It's not doing its job. And so how do we know that? That's where a suspension check comes in. That's where you're on a service tech. And just recently I heard this from a lady. They told her she needed shocks and struts, and that car had like 100,000 K on it, and it was, a Japanese car. And they last a lot longer than the domestics, I can tell you that. I'm just going to be changing shocks on the 2007 FJ Cruiser. I'm about halfway to 400,000 kilometers, and I'll be changing them out for the very first time. So there you go. On a domestic, you might see 5 years. You might make it to 6, maybe. Because it's not by mileage or time. It's the gas leaking out from the seals when they shrink, and then you lose your absorption. Yeah, absorption? Yeah, that's good. We'll go with that. So they can no longer really give you a smooth ride anymore. But most of all, there's no downforce to keep your wheels against your rubber against the road. Yeah, I think that's where the term came up. It's time to put the rubber to the road. Or was that a smoky burnout? I'm not sure. I guess you could use that phrase either way. Yeah, time for a smoky burnout. A really good one. So if there's no downforce and we're heading into winter months, we've got going to have slushy roads, icy roads, snow event stuff on the ground. How much? We don't know. But if there's no downforce, that means those winter tires, it doesn't matter if they're the best on the planet, built by NASA and designed by, flight engineers. It won't matter because you're not getting the traction that those winter tires need if your shocks are worn out. So how do we determine if they're worn out? I knew you'd ask, and I have the answer. I have a very simple tool kit in my toolbox that measures vehicle road height. And I know I'm going over a little bit long here, but I want to share this with you, and then I'll cut out. I'll cut out of here because it's time for a cup of coffee. It's getting close to that time, break time. I have a what's called a suspension test kit. So we pull the vehicle in to the shop on a flat surface. So I know an area in the shop where I can pull that vehicle in, and I know the cement floor is perfectly flat. So then we go around, we check and make sure all the tires are set to the same tire pressure. Now I go into my manual that came with it, and I look up the vehicle year, make, and model. And then it shows me a diagram where I'm going to, with the tape measure they even provided in that kit, measure from the floor, so from the shop floor surface to specific points on your vehicle, and then write down the measurements. And then go back to the chart when I'm done, all the measurements, and check the actual measurement to the specified measurement. And if your vehicle is sitting low at any of those points, then that tells me the car is sagging. So the vehicle road height is not correct. And why would that be? All the tires, I set them all to the same pressure, so the vehicle's sitting level. And I've got measurements that are lower than the actual measurements in the manual that shows your vehicle and the height. It's called measuring road height. So then I can have that discussion with you and say the front end of the vehicle is sitting 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches lower than it should be. That tells me that the shocks are not working and that your vehicle's not performing and absorbing road shock and spring oscillations. So you're really suffering from ride. The ride is not good, like from the factory. So that's when I can say we need to replace the shocks either on the front or on the rear or all four. I generally recommend if we're doing the front, let's do the back as well. Why? They're the same mileage, the same time frame in age and mileage. Why not have the suspension working all the way around the vehicle equally? And that is really what you need heading into the winter months, is we need all four brakes are braking equally. All 4 shocks are working equally hard to keep the rubber on the road. And that is the name of that tune. It keeps it really, really, really simple. Checking and verifying vehicle road heights will help me as a service technician to help you not only better understand your automobile, but make sure that you and your occupants and everyone around you on the roadway are going to be safe this winter season. And they're just as important in the summer, except the roadways are clear, but it's when heavy downpours, which we seem to be having more and more of, you want to know that your vehicle is not going to hydroplane on that water, that you have the downforce from the shocks to keep the rubber tightly against the road. Otherwise, you're drifting. You're just basically riding on whatever's on the road surface. You're not getting downforce. So till next time, like, share, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Leave a comment. Send me an email. Click on our YouTube icon, Facebook, Instagram, iHeart, and our merch store. We've got winter knitted hats coming in and hoodies available. All that stuff's coming in alongside all the other merchandise we have online in our store. You go into the store, pick your size, your color, put it in your shopping cart, safely pay for it. It gets shipped, made and created and shipped directly to you. Becomes a personal item. And be part of the Car Connection crew. Show it off. So we thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being a part of our Car Connection and our Car Connection Workshop community. Check in with us at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com anytime. All the links to reach me are on the top right-hand corner of our homepage, and look forward to seeing you next time. So keep it under 100 and put that coffee on, because we're on our way to your house.